Imagine a world where empires rise and fall like the tide, where a single battle can change the course of history forever. At the heart of one such seismic shift stands a figure of immense complexity and ambition. Zaheer ad-Din Muhammad Babur, the founder of the mighty Mughal Empire. His story is not just a tale of conquest. It's a saga of a prince who lost a kingdom, only to build an empire that would dazzle the world for centuries. Born in 1483 in Andijan, in what is now Uzbekistan, Babur was a prince with a formidable lineage. On his father's side, he was a descendant of the great conqueror Timur, also known as Tamerlane. On his mother's side, he traced his ancestry back to the legendary Genghis Khan. With such blood running through his veins, it seemed destiny had marked him for greatness. But destiny, as Babur would soon learn, is a winding and often treacherous path. He ascended to the throne of Fergana, a small but strategic kingdom, at the tender age of 12 after his father's sudden death. Imagine being a boy king, surrounded by ambitious relatives and rival warlords, all vying for a piece of your inheritance. It was a brutal school, but it forged Babur into a shrewd and resilient leader. His early years were a whirlwind of victories and defeats. He was obsessed with capturing the legendary city of Samarkand, the glorious capital of his ancestor Timur. He managed to take it not once, but twice, only to lose it both times. Driven from his ancestral homeland, Babur became a wanderer, a prince without a kingdom. Many would have given up, but not Babur. He was a poet as much as a warrior, and his memoirs, the Baburnama, give us an incredibly candid look into his mind. He writes of his despair, his moments of doubt, but also his unyielding determination. He describes the beauty of a melon he tasted that reminded him of his lost home, and the strategic brilliance he employed to outwit his enemies. This blend of sensitivity and steel is what makes him so compelling. After years of struggle, Babur set his sights south, towards Afghanistan. In 1504, he captured Kabul, finally securing a base for himself. For the next 2 decades, he consolidated his power, building a loyal army and observing the political turmoil brewing across the Khyber Pass in the vast, wealthy land of Hindustan, or India. At that time, northern India was ruled by the Delhi Sultanate under Ibrahim Lodi, a ruler who was deeply unpopular with his own nobles. Several of these discontented nobles saw an opportunity and invited Babur to invade, hoping to use him as a pawn to overthrow Lodi. They severely underestimated the man they were dealing with. Babur wasn't interested in being a pawn. He was coming to be a king. In 1526, Babur marched into India. His army was small, vastly outnumbered by the massive force of Sultan Ibrahim Lodi. The two armies met on the plains of Panipat, a battlefield that had already seen the fate of India decided before. On paper, Babur stood no chance. Lodi had over 100,000 men and a fearsome corps of war elephants. Babur had at most 15,000 soldiers. But Babur had a secret weapon: technology and tactics. He was one of the first rulers in India to effectively use gunpowder firearms and field cannons. He arranged his cannons behind a defensive line of carts tied together with leather ropes, a tactic inspired by the Ottomans. He then used his highly mobile cavalry to flank and encircle Lodi's much larger, but more cumbersome army. The Battle of Panipat was a masterclass in military strategy. Lodi's elephants, terrified by the cannon fire, turned and trampled their own troops. The battle was over in a matter of hours. Ibrahim Lodi was killed, and the Delhi Sultanate was shattered. Babur was now the master of Delhi and Agra, but his fight was far from over. The victory at Panipat made him a target. A powerful confederacy of Rajput kings, led by the valiant Rana Sanga of Mewar, rose to challenge him. Rana Sanga was a legendary warrior, a veteran of 100 battles, and he commanded an even larger army than Lodi had. He saw Babur as a foreign invader and was determined to drive him out of India. The two forces clashed at the Battle of Kanwa in 1527. This was the true test of Babur's resolve. His troops were homesick, weary of the heat, and terrified by the reputation of the Rajput warriors. Babur's own astrologer predicted defeat, and morale plummeted. In this moment of crisis, Babur showed his true genius for leadership. He gathered his men, and in a dramatic speech, he renounced alcohol, breaking his precious wine cups to show his commitment to a holy war. He swore an oath on the Quran to fight to the death. His speech was so powerful, so full of conviction, that it electrified his army. They roared their approval and charged into battle with renewed zeal. At Kanwa, Babur once again used his superior tactics of cannons and cavalry. The result was another decisive victory. Rana Sanga was defeated, and the Rajput Confederacy was broken. With this victory, Babur's hold on northern India was secure. The Mughal Empire was born. Babur spent the last few years of his life consolidating his new empire. A vast territory stretching from the Amu Darya River in the north to the borders of Bengal in the east, he was more than just a conqueror. He was a builder. He had a deep appreciation for beauty and order, and he began laying out magnificent gardens in the Persian style, a tradition his successors would continue with spectacular results. These gardens, with their flowing water and symmetrical designs, were an attempt to create a slice of paradise, a cool and orderly refuge from the dust and heat of the Indian plains. Yet he never truly felt at home in India. His heart, as revealed in the Baburnama, always yearned for the cool hills and familiar fruits of his homeland in Central Asia. He wrote, "Hindustan is a country of few charms. Its people have no good looks, no politeness of manner, no fellow feeling or compassion. It's a harsh judgment, perhaps born of a lifelong nostalgia for a home he could never reclaim." Babur's life came to an end in 1530, at the age of just 47. The story of his death is as legendary as his life. It is said that his son and heir, Humayun, fell gravely ill. Babur, in a desperate act of fatherly love, walked around his son's bed 3 times, praying to God to take his life in exchange for his son's. As the legend goes, Humayun began to recover, while Babur fell ill and soon died. Babur's legacy is immense. He was a military genius who laid the foundation for an empire that would become a beacon of culture, art, and architecture for over 300 years. His descendants, like Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, and Aurangzeb, would rule over one of the most powerful and wealthy empires in the world. The Taj Mahal, the Red Fort, the intricate miniature paintings, all of this cultural splendor has its roots in the garden-loving, poetry-writing warrior prince from Fergana. His own memoir, the Baburnama, is a unique treasure of world literature. It's not the boastful chronicle of a king, but an honest, introspective, and deeply human account of a life filled with staggering triumphs and crushing setbacks. It gives us a window into the soul of a man who was at once a ruthless conqueror, a sensitive poet, a devoted father, and a brilliant strategist. Zaheer ad-Din Muhammad Babur, the Tiger, was a true product of his time, a relentless storm of ambition that swept across continents. He lost a small kingdom, but conquered an empire, leaving behind a legacy that continues to fascinate and inspire us to this day. His life is a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest empires are built not from a position of strength, but from the ashes of defeat, by the sheer force of an unbreakable will. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the past as fascinating as I did, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next historical adventure. See you next time.